Last time, our protagonist joined forces with the playful mercenary Dylan O'Casey after Jenny got him a job to destroy a factory of Charlotte Corp under the commission of Ritz Corp. The two men breaking in and Dylan getting demolished by a humanoid crocodile hired by Charlotte Corp, whilst Van set up his magic and snuck out, carrying his partner out of the blast zone before a massive explosion destroyed the factory, with the croc still inside. On the edge of the explosion, protected by Van's barrier, Dylan complains about the state of his body, Van taking a hit of Viper to re-up his exhausted body. Dylan questioning what he is doing, adding he heard those have severe side effects, though he's drinking them without any problems. Dylan then picking Van up, telling him they need to get out of here, explaining that the croc is definitely still alive, wondering how he doesn't know who the old man is, informing him that is Crocinus Silas from Pandemonium, a former war mercenary who became an executive of Pandemonium after he retired. Pandemonium being a notorious global criminal organization that only invites highly dangerous criminals and outlaws, yet he was able to become an executive there easily. Crocin, emerging from the burning factory covered in flames, walking toward them menacingly. Van and Dylan attempting to flee at this sight, but knocked to the ground by the rapid dash of Crocin, him staring Van down, asking if he is the mage, adding, "You look young for a mage." Van seeing the collapsed Dylan, thinking it's impossible to run away with Dylan now, steeling himself to face the monstrous old man before him. The two now face to face, having a brief exchange, Crocin bursting out in laughter, saying if you hadn't messed with the factory, I would have let you live. Then launching forward with his massive claws, saying, "But I have a job to do." Van activating his magic, Gravity Bind, summoning dark tendrils from the floor, stopping Crocin in his tracks, with the shadowy tendrils holding him down, but using his immense strength, he breaks out of the Gravity Bind, tearing the magic from his body. Van deciding that he will no longer be able to hold back as he focuses his mana in his hands. Crocin rushing toward him, unwilling to let him complete this trick, but before he reaches him, our boy, palms on the floor, unleashes his ice magic, Frost Soul, encapsulating Crocin in a crystal of ice. Van then walking over and checking on the snow-covered Dylan, but before the two can escape, the crystal already begins to creak and crack. Van deciding to use his support magic, shooting combo magic from World 2.0, with the little mana he has left, taking out his gun, enhancing his gun with trajectory guidance, penetration reinforcement, and projectile acceleration, thinking this old gun can't handle the mana, but it matters not since this is the end anyway. With Crocin moments from breaking out of the ice, Van takes the shot, sending a mana-infused bullet streaking toward him, the impact sending Crocin's head back and shattering the ice around him. Van out of breath from the mana usage and the gun in tatters. Dylan expressing his admiration for targeting his eye, asking if it worked this time. Van out of strength saying it must have, but behind the icy haze, Crocin appears, complimenting the very good attempt. The old veteran, one eye burning in fury, with the other holding the still smoking bullet in his eyelid. Van only able to say, "What a fucking monster," as a drop of sweat rolls down his cheek. The inhuman Crocin touching his eye, stating it still hurts a bit. Van and Dylan on their last legs and drained of mana, pulling out their weapons to make a last stand, whilst Crocin leaps into the sky, brimming with power, dark lightning emanating off him, bearing down on the duo, who can only contemplate if this is how they'll die. The clash resulting in a massive cloud of debris from the impact. Van stunned to find himself still alive, protected by the magic barrier of a mystery figure. Crocin grimacing, adding that he took too long because now the city government's hunting dog, Evelyn, is here. Her calling the name of the notorious Croc, telling him he crossed the line this time. Her then disengaging their clash with her tonfa baton, separating the two. Evelyn wondering how he thought blowing up an entire factory would go unnoticed. Crocin then trying to plead his innocence in this, pointing to the pair on the floor, pinning them as the culprits. Evelyn not buying that the two that were about to die destroyed an entire factory. Crocin unwilling to fight her since it wasn't in his contract, turning to leave. Van thinking that if he doesn't want to fight her, she must be as powerful as him. The duo then thank her for saving them, with her removing her mask, saying they don't need to thank her as it's her duty. Van realizing that she is the vegetable store lady as she extends a hand to him to stand. Van stopping her short, bringing himself to his feet. Her then expressing a strange familiarity about him, but Van brushes it off whilst thinking as a government elite she wasn't lying when she said she was rich. Her agreeing that it's nothing since his mana pattern is different. Van satisfied that he changed his mana pattern this time around. Evelyn concluding the talk with a warning to not get involved with pandemonium if he wants to live a long life. The two men, now on their own, coming to the agreement of Van taking 40 mil from the 50 mil payment, since he did the heavy lifting this time. Van again taking a hit of Viper as they leave, the two playfully arguing over his use of the harmful drug. After 4 entire days of sleep, our boy's body is still worn out, him thinking it's probably due to the mana addict trait or from overdosing on Viper. Forcing himself up, deciding he needs to start eating proper meals and find better drugs. But first things first, he needs to collect his pay. Meeting the ever glamorous Jenny at her bar, her happy to see her precious customer after 10 days of silence, with her then pulling out his pay. Starting our boy at the 60 million sell in cash, the extra 20 mil coming as a bonus from Viritz. The two then conversing about what happened at the job. Van asking if she has heard the name Evelyn before. Her explaining that she's a direct agent for the state government, practically an armed government unit with massive funding. Her then giving him the info for the fake ID he asked about last time. Jenny also complaining at his lack of a bank account and phone, asking if he knows how hard it is to prepare this much cash. Van conceding to her, then asking for one more favor. Our boy, now with the appearance of a blonde man with glasses, greeting the guy Jenny sent him to for the ID. The two getting straight to the exchange, with our boy handing over the cash. The man noting that these 1 million cell notes are hard to get your hands on, so clearly Jenny values him highly. The man getting to work, explaining that this fake is only changed on the surface, so if someone is determined to find flaws, he will get caught. But if he wants a fully legit fake, he'd need to bribe the network admin, which would cost about 400 mil. Then moving on, using this face for the ID and the name Evan, him not caring what the surname is. Now walking the streets as Lennox with the proof of his settlement in this world, his fake ID for Evan Violin in hand. He then calls Jenny, informing her that this will be his contact from now. Her joking that he's the first to take more than a month to contact her, even if it's only when he wants work. Her then telling him he should get a simple part-time job that he can use as a front. After all, if he keeps getting work with her, the money he earns will continue to increase, and an unemployed citizen having that much money would be suspicious. Ending the call thinking even if Jenny gets friendlier, he can't fully trust her as they both only talk about what they need from each other. Thinking back to the conversation about Viper and her recommendation to a place with higher quality product in District 31. With the note in hand, heading there, he wonders if she intends to deceive him and backstab him, or continue working with him by holding on to his secrets. Our boy, now appearing as Van, heading into the botanical garden as huge as a jungle. Entering a back door in one of the shops, he heads down the steps to find an ominous door with the scent of Viper leaking from it. Opening it to find a laboratory full of chemicals and plants with a figure facing him behind a desk. Van replying to the old man's question that Jenny introduced him to this place. The old man with a glass eye declaring that he never gave her permission to introduce customers to him though. If you enjoyed the vid, like, sub and comment below. Peace.